All right, Doug will be here in just a second. Looking forward to this one. Oh, here we go. All right, that's better. Nice, man. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yep, I hear
Nice.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Good to
Oh,
finally
sorry about that. I
speak
had
to you,
to.
man. I think it's the first time.
Yes, sir. Sorry about that. I had to. I was actually on my computer. Let me back up here.
Nah, you're
Hold on a
fine.
second.
You're fine.
I got a close up of my ugly grill. Um, um, uh, yeah, I was on my desktop, so unfortunately, there's no button on desktop to send an invite, so I had to
Mm.
send it from the mobile version.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's always something with the tech stuff, but yeah. No, listen, man. I mean, I've said it to you before. I'll say it, publicly. I look up to what you do, and we do similar stuff. Granted, for different regions, but yeah, you got a good thing going with Bowlage, and it'll be nice to talk about um, how you started that, and how it continues today. So
I
yeah,
appreciate
I'm
that.
looking forward to it, man.
Absolutely, I appreciate that.
Of course. I guess a good place to start would be, where you came up with the idea for it, how you started it.
Um, Well, I mean, originally, so I used to own a another website. It's no longer functional, but I used to own another website. It was a forum for just a small, group of friends, and over time, those friends kind of got older and had other things going on in their lives, and so the website, was not nearly as used as it used to as it previously
Hmm.
was, and so I always had a thing for web design and web development and coding and things like that. So I was trying to. I remember sitting in my living room with my wife and a friend of mine, and I remember I was trying to think of ideas, to kind of mix, kind of like marry my interest in bowling with my interest in coding,
Your true
and
passions,
so
yeah.
and web design, and so I came up with the idea. So a number of years ago, there used to be a publication, a printed publication called the New York Bowler. It was a like a newspaper type of thing in the Long Island area, and it would give credit to people that bowled honor scores in the Long Island area. And one of the last publications, I was actually featured because I broke one of the house records, and I spoke to the guy who was running the publication, and he said he was no longer going to do it. And I said, why? And he said because he simply didn't have the funds.
Wow.
You know, so I said, oh, I that it sucks. So I tried to think of a way to kind of bring that back,
Fill that
and
void.
so
Yeah,
yeah, so that's basically where the idea came from.
for sure. And I mean, you talked about coding. How did you learn to code? Because I know you got the website going and all that.
Yeah, it's actually funny. Good question. It's a funny question. So I went to college for finance, so I didn't really have any experience in coding when I went to college. And when I graduated, uh, it was in 2001. I'm old, and so when I graduated, the Twin Tower situation happened, and it was tough to get a job in my field.
Yeah.
So in the interim, while I was kind of looking for jobs, um, I would go to different websites, and I was always interested in how people put these websites together. And so I would actually, if you right click on a website, you can click the view source, and you can see the source of the website. And I just studied it, and I would just that's where I learned how HTML, and then
Yeah.
there's different languages, PHP and CSS and things like that. SQL as well, where I learned most of it from just Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Self-taught, man. And that's impressive. I guess to switch gears a little bit, I mean, as you know and I know, I mean, running a page like we do can be high maintenance. So I guess I want to ask you, like, how often during your normal day do you have to go on, check Bowlage, try to manage it, and the website as well? Yeah.
Um, Honestly, so I'm on my phone all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm on my phone all the time. People DM me, and I usually answer pretty quickly just because I'm on my phone all the time. So I'm scouring Facebook on a regular basis, just looking for honor scores. I mean, it's a very hard question to answer, just because I'm literally on all the time looking for tournaments, honor scores. Tournaments are actually the harder one, because the algorithm that Facebook uses, it's updated over time. So now I get a lot of the honor scores on my feed regularly. But the tournaments, there are so many tournaments. So those, like, yeah, those I gotta kind of scour a little deeper to find. Sometimes the bowling centers don't promote their tournaments. Sometimes I'm not friends with those particular accounts.
Right.
Sometimes I don't follow those accounts. So those I gotta search harder just to find them all. I want to get as many as I possibly can.
We try.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm checking Facebook easily multiple times a day. I mean, yeah, I'm on it all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, well, it helps that it's something that you love, so it doesn't really feel like work. My next question was going to be like, what keeps you going? What keeps you motivated? But I feel like it's kind of self-evident. It seems like it's something you just love to do.
I mean, listen, I honestly, the amount of shit that we take, it's tough. It's difficult sometimes. Excuse my
Yeah,
language, but yeah, but for the amount of stuff that we take, it's difficult sometimes. But
but that means
yeah,
we're
I mean,
doing something
honestly,
right because they care enough to, put in their 2 cents.
yeah, I mean, yeah, no question. I mean, honestly, I started it just to kind of help bowlers. I mean, I really just wanted to, put together a website that, that bowlers would utilize in a productive fashion. Something that they could really use to not only give credit to them for their accolades, but also, spread awareness for just tournaments and bowling reviews and just basically everything bowling. I've loved it. I've been bowling since I'm 7 years old, so I
Mm,
figured kind of I would love to make it a full-time job, but
right. It's tough.
it's not really a thing right now. So
Yeah, you mentioned starting bowling at 7. It sounds like you've been bowling your whole life, man. Take us through that.
yeah, I'm an old man. I'm 45 years old. I started when I was 7. I started at a bowling alley in Fresh Meadows called Utopia Lanes, which is no longer there.
Yeah.
And I went over to a bowling alley called Sterling Bowl, which was in New Hyde Park,
Hmm.
Long Island, which also is no longer there.
Yeah.
And after that, I went over to Herald Lanes. I was there for a while, and Herald Lanes was recently purchased by another guy who transformed it into a Bowl 360 New Hyde Park.
No kidding.
And they don't really have a lot of leagues. I don't think they have any leagues
Yeah.
there. So I moved over to South Levittown, and now I currently bowl at South Levittown, and I also bowl at Bolero East Meadow.
Yeah. And you're
Yeah,
like a 230 guy, for the last several years, maybe even decades, right?
yeah. I mean, listen, we all have good years and bad years. I mean, last year wasn't a very good year. Last year was like 214, 13, something like that, or one league and like 222 in another league. This year, I think 226 in one league. I've generally been around 220 to 228 for the most part for the last decade or so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's your proudest accomplishment, off on the lanes, like as a bowler?
Uh, that's got to be breaking the house record at Harrell. I shot 857.
Wow.
Yeah, that record stood for I think 12 years.
Long time.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I shot 299, 280, 278, and I didn't even get a 300 that day.
Not that time.
And
Yeah.
not that day, no. And it's funny because that record, the previous record, stood for 12 years. and then my record stood for 19 weeks.
19 weeks. Oh my god. Of
Some other
course.
guy shot, yeah, some other guy a couple weeks later. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but he ended up shooting, oh God, 887, 889. Yeah, some huge number. His average was like 202, and he got a brand new ball from Tommy DeLutz over at the pro shop at Herald. And I wasn't even there. Someone told me. I'm like, no, you're kidding. And he's like, no, I'm not kidding. And it was crazy. He was a nice guy though. He was really nice about it. But
For
yeah,
sure. And yeah, some of these scores they're putting up, especially nowadays, you see them all the time, and it's crazy.
I wish I could join. I wish I could join in them, but
Yeah,
unfortunately, yeah, these guys are just too good for me.
it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, man. Oh yeah. Also, just off the lanes. Let's hear about some of your other hobbies besides bowling and what you're about.
Sure. I know, like I said, I work in finance. I went to college for finance. Um, as far as other, hobbies, I mean, taking care of my daughter. My daughter's 13 years old. Like I said, I got, the wife, and she has her own, a stepchild. And, other than that, I go to the gym regularly. I go to the gym 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
I like I said, I'm on the computer a lot, working on the website, working on coding, working on just ideas, just trying to always come up with ideas for the website, trying to,
Yeah.
think of things to add that Bowlage could use. But
It's
yeah,
tough, but every once in a while you stumble on a good one, and that's all she wrote. It takes off.
yep,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and you mentioned your daughter. I mean, I remember I noticed a few years ago you posted some personal stuff in your life about your daughter, and there was a situation with that, and you mentioned how the community got you through it. So I was wondering if you could talk about
Yeah,
that a bit, because I know it's a lot.
absolutely. No, absolutely. In a nutshell, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but in a nutshell, I went through a pretty nasty situation a couple of years ago, and I was fighting for custody of my daughter, and it was tough. My daughter's everything to me. I have she's my only child, and she's 13 years old, and yeah, she's just literally everything to me. And so I had to. It was a pretty rough, custody battle, and took a lot of money and a lot of time. But during that situation, and the situation lasted about about 3 years. It was a
Really?
long, about 3 years, yeah, 3-4 years, I think. I think it started in 2020, and I think we finally finished it beginning of 2024, so almost 4 years.
Well, good for you.
Um, yeah, and the bowling community actually really helped getting me through it, because it was tough. I don't want to be too somber or anything like
Uh,
that, but yeah, it was a rough situation. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was fighting my life, for everything, and I was crying every single day. And the bowling community really helped me get through it. I mean, obviously, my wife helped me get through it. My current wife helped me get through it too. But
right.
the bowling community really helped me get through it. You know, uh, uh, just everything, focusing on the website and focusing on the group and having conversations about bowling. And you guys remember COVID, and my situation was kind of going on during COVID. And so kind of just keeping myself busy with trying to helping. I know I think this is before you came on the scene with New England Bowling.
Yes, sir.
Um, but I remember when the bowling alley shut down, I was, trying to get some of the proprietors together to help get the bowling alleys back opened. And I was having a regular sit down with a guy named Keith Pappas, who was the general manager at South Levittown Lanes. And I know the Laspina family was instrumental in getting the centers back open. But yeah, the bowling community really got me through the tough times. They really did. I owe them a lot.
It's kind of cathartic, how we pour our heart and soul into doing a service for the community and for the region, and then at your lowest moment, they did the same for you. They gave it right back to
No
you, and
question.
that's awesome.
No question about it. These guys, the folks, they really helped me out a lot. They got me through it. They kind of just allowed me to not listen when you're sitting at home and you're focusing on something like that. It really takes a toll on you. It's encompassing,
Yeah.
and the bowling community really helped me get through it.
100%, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we we touched on that, which is awesome. I did want to ask about like what wisdom you have for up and coming content creators and people who want to make a page and get to a high level with it.
Absolutely, and I'm sure you absolutely know about this. I think the number one thing, and I know you're going to agree with me, the number one thing would be fresh content. You
Yes.
always need fresh content. If you take a day or two off, they notice, you know. So as long as you keep, churning out data, churning out information, churning out videos and articles and posts, and as long as you keep it coming, you gotta keep churning out the content, and just stay focused. And I mean, I don't want to. This is not $1 million idea. It's never. I was never. I was never in it for that.
No.
For up and coming for up and coming content creators,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would definitely say just send out. It's going to sound weird, but send out friend requests to the bowling community or whatever community that you're in.
That's how I started.
And yeah, you send out. That's how I started. You send out friend requests, and before you know it, you're getting friend requests.
Exactly.
And then right, and then you just start churning out fresh content, and it happens. So yeah.
And once the algorithm picks you up,
Oh
I
yes.
feel like it's just kind of it's a type of thing where you start slow and then it's like a snowball effect. And you can't focus on followers. I mean, obviously it behooves you to grow your page, but if you focus on the right things, which is like putting out good content for the community and content to grow the game, I think as a byproduct, you'll inevitably start to get that traction,
I'm always, sometimes I'm not home or whatever, and I can't get, to a computer, or my phone for some reason acting up, whatever. I can't download a particular video and get it up in the group. I'm constantly saving. There's a Facebook function to save posts. And so I'm constantly saving posts so that later on I can access them and get them up. And I know the algorithm definitely reads what content, what post type that you're saving. And that's another big thing also for me, it was saving the information just so the algorithm can read exactly what you're focused on,
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see here. I think that's all the questions I have, but I'm sure people in the comments might have some questions for Doug, Is there anything else you wanted to bring up as well?
Honestly, just, honestly, for what you're doing a fantastic job. I know when I started this, it was very difficult for me to capture certain regions. New England was one of them, just because honestly, I don't have a huge following. I didn't have a huge following in New England, and obviously I believe you're from Massachusetts, I believe.
Well,
Or
I was
Connecticut.
from Rhode Island. Obviously,
Rhode
since
Island.
then I've moved to Oklahoma, but
Right. So you being in Rhode Island, obviously you had those connections, and so yeah, honestly, you've done an absolutely fantastic job with what you're doing. I know a lot of a lot of tournament directors and a lot of content creators have trouble working together.
right.
And I feel like you know that firsthand.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like you and I kind of understand each other, and I'll take some of your posts and I'll share them, and I'll make a post and I'll see you share them, and we have no issues whatsoever. We never had. And it's about growing the community. I mean, neither one of us are really doing this, for other than to grow the community. And so I really wish that a lot of other, directors and content creators and so forth could, just work in unison and cooperation to help, kind of grow this game that, we all love.
Exactly.
So it brought us together.
Yeah, and it's good to hear like your heart really isn't in the right place. There's no selfish undertone. And I like to think that that's the same for me. We're just trying to do our small part to grow the game we love, and we're in a position to do that, and that's a blessing, man. It really
No
is.
question about it. Honestly, I know you love doing it. I love doing it. I really enjoy it. I remember my wife used to get mad at me all the time. She's like, why are you on Bowlage all the time?
Yeah, same. Yeah, my girlfriend Sarah, same thing. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, listen, it pays dividends over time, and so I really enjoy doing it, and I started it in 2019. It's going strong for almost 6 years, and
Yeah.
I think the two of us are doing great work, and yeah, I mean, really, just I look forward to another so on so how many more years of doing it.
Years and years. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's good. Well, we want to grow the game, and we don't want it to go anywhere. And so,
right.
we obviously we're losing bowling centers all the time, and so we got to do our part to kind of just help grow the game.
Exactly. And nowadays, social media and everyone, you see everyone on their phones all the time. So, that's a good place to start, and maybe if there's more traction with social media posts, people who have money, like the people who can actually fund, things at the top of the sport,
Yep.
it'll be like a trickle down effect. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, I mentioned them before, but I know I mentioned it before. The Laspina family is really instrumental. I know, he uses a lot of his own money just to. I know he did use a lot of his own money, John Laspina and Joe Laspina, to really get the bowling centers back open after COVID. And they have a couple of their own bowling centers on Long Island, and they have one in Florida. And yeah, they're a big asset to the community. But as you said, there are a number of other people that have really donated. I remember a couple of years ago, I ran the Bowlage Ryder Cup, and we had a number of donators to that. That was fantastic, and I'd love to do it again. But that was it's people that that are willing to help out, that are gonna continue to grow the game.
Exactly, man. You got a question from James Bissett, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even say it.
Yeah, it's in the chat. If you scroll up a little bit,
Hold
I forgot what he said, but
on. James Bissett, quick question for Doug. How do you strike? Oh, sorry. How do you strike? I was like, I don't know. How do you strike a good, proper balance between promoting the bowling community and grow the game in a positive way, I assume, through your work? Wait, hold on. I'm trying to understand this question here.
yeah.
How do you strike a good, proper balance between promoting the bowling community and growing the game in a positive way through your work? Take of those who seem to take advantage of the game. Oh, he's talking about. That's a tough one.
That's a loaded question. Yeah.
That is a loaded question, my friend.
I think inherently you just you do both, just by continuously posting, like supporting the people in the community. I think as a byproduct that grows the game at large.
It's I think one of the biggest issues that our game currently faces is the handicap issue, and people not bowling up to their potential in order to utilize or to gain a non-competitive advantage, via handicap. And it's what I would like to do, and I don't want to bring any negativity to the game, but every now and then you have to. You got to post the good, you got to post the bad, and I try to focus on the good, but every now and then you're going to see some questionable stuff, and I want to help the majority of the community, and I feel like in order to help the community, you got to shed light on these particular situations. And I've been wrong. There are plenty of bowlers who a lot of people have come up to me and said, "Oh, this guy is a dumper and this guy's a dumper," and they're not. They're just up and coming bowlers. They are honing their craft. They are trying to get
different.
better. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's different. They're trying to get better every single day, and then there are people that don't. And so I want to shed light on the people that don't, because listen, these people go into tournaments and they have an unfair advantage, and they are taking advantage of that. And in essence, it's akin to theft. It's akin to stealing. And I'm not trying to. I'm trying to help out the greater majority of the community, and I feel like shedding light on those situations is a way to really benefit the community and the handicap community. I know there are some handicap tournament directors such as Doug Liquori and Tynell Tate. These are guys over here. These are handicap, not scratch. I know Greg Tack does scratch, but
Yes.
like the handicap guys, those guys have a hard job. That's a hard job.
Yeah.
I've thought about running handicap. I have no interest because it's a hard
Well,
job.
one thing you
And
could
those
do is take the composite average. Sometimes there's certain tournaments I've seen, and they allow you to use a book average from any league. And obviously, people are going to use their lowest average. So why not
the,
just have the composite average, and then that kind of solves the issue.
somewhat. The problem is you got a lot of people that literally make a habit of dumping their average down in leagues, and they do it every single year.
Mm,
And so you
yeah.
see an average 170 or 160 or 180, and you know that these people, you've seen them bowl. You can see the way they bowl. They're capable of shooting 220. I have a friend. I've known him for 100 years. He's a two. I'm sorry. He's a 187 average. You watch him bowl, you would know he's a 187
Yeah.
average. Okay.
Yeah.
And you would know just by the way he throws the ball. He's a 187 average. And then you see some of the other guys averaging in the 170s. And the way they throw the ball, they're not 170
Yep.
averages. They're not 180 average. These guys can average 210 if they tried.
At
But
Sports Shot, mind you. Like, I see them go on Sports Shot, and they average 30 pins above their
yep,
book average on House Shot.
yep,
So
yep,
tells you
you
all you
got
need
it.
to
You
know.
got it. Right. So it's a very, excuse me, it's a very difficult balance only because, I want to tackle the good, but I also want to tackle the bad. So I feel like, shedding light on these particular individuals who are taking advantage of the other bowlers and taking advantage of handicap. A lot of people come online. They say, we're the only sport that actually benefits the lower averages. And you know what? They're not wrong. They're not wrong. And it's something that we definitely need to work on. I know a couple of people have mentioned trying to put together a database of tournament averages, but it's very, very hard. You need a number of tournament directors to
Work in tandem.
cooperate. Right, exactly. To work in tandem, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
Yeah, no kidding. And, it, it's important to keep an upbeat, like positive vibe to our pages, but at the same time, like there is, a bunch of BS out there, and we'd be remiss not to, cover that as well to give like a realistic assessment. So there's a time and a place for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. You said it perfectly. The time and place for it, but if we didn't post about the bad as well as the good, we're not doing our due diligence. We're not doing our full job in helping the community.
That's right. Yeah. And, we all love this game, but the reality is like bowling is popular within like a hyperactive pocket of the population. And then there's a bunch of people who, you know, they just go in the bowling center on a Friday night and have a couple of beers with their buddies, or they just don't bowl at all. They see it as a joke because they see, you know, the activity that bowling is for house bowlers, and they don't realize that there's a sport, like a
Yep.
competitive element to it, and
It's a
that has to
competitive
change.
bowling is yeah, competitive bowling is a niche. It's a niche thing, and it used to be obviously one of the major sports on TV.
That's right.
I remember in the 80s, 90s. I grew up
And look at
turn on Saturday
golf.
morning.
The opposite happened.
That's It was fantastic. It was exactly, absolutely right. It was fantastic. I used to love turning on the TV Saturday afternoon and watching the Parker Bones and the guys like that. Norm Duke and Walter Ray. Lace it up and on a weekly basis. It was great.
Yeah.
So it's nice that I know the PBA is currently trying to get back to that, but it's tough. It's really tough.
And no one's saying it has to be like the NFL or the NBA, but to get back to where we were back in the 80s or 90s, I mean, that would be a dream.
I don't even know I mean, honestly, with so many other alternative forms of entertainment nowadays, when I was a kid, you couldn't just turn on the PS5 and play with your friends online.
Yeah.
I listen, I have a PS5. It's great.
Sure. Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I love it. But when I was a kid, it didn't exist. So in order to entertain yourself, you either had to go out and play with your friends or turn on the TV. And so with all the alternative methods of entertainment nowadays, it's very, very difficult, to build bowling up to. I don't know if it's a realistic endeavor, but we could try.
Moves us to get it as far as we can. Shoot for the stars, get to the moon. Like
Exactly,
it
we
could
could try our
get
best.
better.
Yeah, we try our best and hope that listen, we still how many people bowl on a regular basis? I mean, there's millions. So, I
Yes,
mean, we're doing something. We're doing something right.
yes,
Yeah. So hopefully we can continue growing it.
for sure. And it's important to celebrate those successes while also striving to keep making it better. And I think that's where we come in. I really do. So
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%, man.
yeah. I think that's a good place to leave it off, man. We covered a lot. You're a good guy, Doug. Again, I really look up to what you do, and it would be nice to collab more in the future. We'll think of more ways to collab in the future.
I know what I appreciate that a lot. I really do. Because like I said, you've done a hell of a job building up the New England page. I know the NEBA's always referencing you and Chris Viali and those guys. And like I said, you've done a hell of a job on building up that page. And like I said, you helped me immensely because I didn't have the contacts in the New England area, and you do. And it's fantastic because now we can reach a broader, wider range of bowlers. It's fantastic that we're working in collaboration. And yeah, dude, I look forward to it. I mean, seriously, I really do. Maybe we could run a tournament one day that brings it all together. It'd be great.
Yeah, maybe I can come up to Southern New York and we'll make it happen. Yeah. So,
Absolutely. I actually I spoke to Bruce Hall a few weeks ago, and yeah, he invited me over to his the Vincent Hall Training Center. I'm actually
that's
looking
right.
forward to I'm trying to get over there. It's been tough, but I'll be up in that area hopefully soon. So, but yeah, like I said, it would be nice to get up over there and meet some of the bowlers from the New England area.
Yeah, we'll figure something out, man. And yeah, that would be awesome for you. It's so beautiful up there. You're gonna love it. So yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit different than the city. I'm telling you, I've had enough of the city.
I'll bet. But yeah, everyone, we got Doug Liquori. Had a great time talking to you, and yeah, I'll post this on the page. I think it'll be up for 30 days, so you guys can watch it. And anything before we sign off, Doug?
I'm good. I appreciate the time, and yeah, really, just keep doing what you do, and I'm gonna keep churning them out, and we'll work together and keep it coming.
Yes, sir. Same to you. All right, man.
All right, man. Take
Take
care.
care.
Bye.